I was one of the people on the creative team to actually vote Rebecca out of the original cast during pre-production.
Are you nuts?
CDProject Red first got the character design for Rebecca, and they were like, she's a lowly. Lowlies don't exist in Night City.
What? It is no secret that I love Cyberpunk Edgerunners. The characters, the setting, the animation, everything just works so beautifully to create a fun experience. So when you enjoy something so much, it's surprising to hear that there was so many battles surrounding its creation. And yes, one of my favorite characters of the series, Rebecca, almost didn't make it into the show. For those unaware, Cyberpunk Edgerunners is essentially the child of two companies and cultures coming together in a battle of both concept and art. CDProject Red, a Polish gaming company, with their view on what the cyberpunk world is. And then you have Trigger, a Japanese animation studio known for their outlandish style in animation. A match made in heaven, right? Yeah. Honestly, it truly boggles my mind how a partnership like this can even exist. With the creative liberties that Trigger takes on anything they touch, it's no surprise that during its premiere and after, many interviews have been released painting a picture that this whole production itself could have led to disaster. It's ultimately a battle of visions, which all kind of led to almost a give and take on what each side wanted. Trigger was given a canvas, a blank canvas to really work with, and they nearly had that creative choice almost stamped out. However, obviously it came out good, but however, thanks to Trigger almost kind of standing their ground, in the end, this project came out still retaining that creative freedom. Now, I'm not here to make a video saying that CDProject Red is evil, they're the bad guys. I admire their dedication to what they feel like the cyberpunk world really should look like and feel like. And I think even in the end, it came out with almost a great balance of both what cyberpunk world they wanted and that anime feel, obviously. Although yes, I am an anime fan. I would have loved it to be nothing but over the top, full of the usual anime aesthetic and craziness. I think I argued even in my review that episode 9 was the most Trigger thing you can possibly see. So obviously, it still has it in there. But I obviously understand that this was not meant for an anime fan like me. This was meant for a broad audience. This was meant for everybody to really get and to enjoy. Whenever I talk about anime and specifically these little quirks that are in it that most of the broader audience seen as cringy or, oh, that's so anime, yes, because those things are meant for anime fans. They are aiming and targeting anime fans. Edgerunners is technically not aimed to anime fans. But again, due to that give and take, I believe it still retains that feel. And honestly, based on my comment sections, I think they nailed both of them. Those that are cyberpunk fans seem to really love it, and those that are anime fans, even though they don't play the game, love it. Me, not even a fan of 2077, I'm into it. But again, all that aside, I still understand that Cyberpunk Edgerunners is ultimately a product of CDProject Red. They produced it, obviously. They are still at the heart of the project. Their focus here that despite it being a Japanese animation, they didn't necessarily want people to believe that it was a Japanese product, that they were watching a Japanese story. And no doubt, due to this, the team that was overseeing everything and going between the two sides really faced a challenge here. They had to figure out how to convey what they wanted to a Japanese animation studio, making sure their desires is not lost in translation. And it's funny to find out that CDProject Red apparently came forward with the concept and said, all we have to do is give them the game. Here's Cyberpunk 2077. Make this into an anime. It's got the story there, it's got the characters there, it's got the world there. Simple, right? But thankfully Trigger came back and said, no, that wouldn't be an interesting anime. Like, what you're presenting me would not, it basically doesn't translate. It doesn't translate. This is a video game, a first-person view, hyper-realism with sci-fi twist, story that doesn't translate into an anime. Anime is expressed through animation, movement, speed, velocity, every way the line moves. That's how it tells a story. It's not as simple as just reading dialogue, characters sitting in front of each other, talking about what happened. One of the production heads said that, yeah, it's almost as if we were basically saying to create an anime that's designed like a live action. Heck, I'm not even the biggest Trigger fan out there. Now that's kind of changing lately. It seems like I'm enjoying way more stuff than I don't enjoy of their works. But even me, as not a huge Trigger fan, I know that they express through animation. They express through over-the-top movement things that aren't really built around reality. So in the end, I give both sides credit. Trigger's boldness for standing their ground and ultimately stating what will work and what won't in their art. They know exactly what they have to do to make something happen. A game studio won't know what works in animation. They know what works in CGI. They know what works in gaming storytelling. But like I said, I give CDProject Red credit for their ability to communicate and work out what compromise they need to make in order to make it actually happen, and not to give up in the end. Because in the end, it didn't turn into a Western project that forced the art out of the artists. A prime example of this, and this is obviously the one that everybody's pointing out right now, and it was the original reason why I made this video, that ultimately spiraled into a bigger topic. Rebecca. There was a point of conflict at some point in production that Rebecca's character design was a loli, and that lolis don't fit the cyberpunk world. Yes, I'm sorry, anybody out there that's short of stature, you're not allowed in the future. They don't allow those short people in the future in Cyberpunk. Apparently early in the production, CDProject Red proposed character designs and concepts and story, and they were pretty firm about it. Like, this is what they wanted. But Trigger came back with proposed changes in order to strengthen the animation expression. And yes, one of those expressions was through Rebecca. Rebecca was created as a cute little design, very childish. But the twist, obviously, is that she uses extremely vulgar language. She dual wields guns all the time. She's very flashy. She's over the top, very like Trigger. And obviously, in terms of the anime world itself, she's the concept that everybody's familiar with. Pretty much the Gap Moe. The idea that you see something that looks cute, but then it kind of twists your expectations by showing what their real side is. However, like I said, CDProject Red was not for this. They were hesitant at the character design. Again, claiming that this doesn't fit the cyberpunk world. This cute little girl, this cute little character does not fit the Cyberpunk 2077 world. Coming together and having a whole voting to see if they would even veto it completely, and yes, a lot of them supported getting rid of her. However, thankfully, like I said, there's a give and take here. Trigger stood their ground. They said, no, the loli must stay. We must keep this loli character in the show. Basically, in the end, it comes down to almost a conflict in the desired outcome of this project. A vision on how this could be a great product in the end. And it's not as if Trigger won all their battles. Apparently, Lucy was supposed to be much more over the top, super colorful, spiky shoulder blades, all like kill a kill. And apparently that didn't end up in the end game. And you know what? In the end, I think CDProject Red loved what they got in the end. Despite them being against Rebecca, Trigger pushing to keep her in there, in the end, I think they end up enjoying the final product, obviously. I would hope that they would, and if they didn't, they would probably not say so because they wouldn't want to tarnish something they paid into. But it's kind of cute that in the end, despite having issues with it, some of them fell in love with her in the end.
You know, ultimately, she's the best girl, so it was the right choice.
Like I said, ultimately, I give both sides credit here. One of the biggest fears that we have as anime fans is that the Western culture tries to change what Japan is. They want to censor things. They want things to change in anime to fit the Western needs. Now, I don't think that CDProject Red is trying to censor Japan or anything like that. It's more of the fact that they were trying to get something that was very Western, which is fine. They paid into it. They're the ones that are producing it. But there's an understanding that came from this whole situation. CDProject Red said, make us an anime. Trigger said, we can make it, but we need to do this in order to be our art, our expression, and what we feel people will love. And while CDProject Red did tug, did pull, did push, and ultimately gave them the initial concept, in the end, they let the artist do their drawing. They didn't constantly push their hand on the brush to go this direction. Instead, they allowed them to express what they wanted to express. And again, what we got in the end was this meshing, this perfect meshing of the two sides. The Western cyberpunk world made an anime format with an anime aesthetic and an anime feel, enough to make it enjoyable, entertaining, and yes, its own unique art. And yes, we got to keep Rebecca, the best girl of the entire show, who I absolutely love. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below. Comment, let me know what you thought of this whole situation. Do you love Rebecca? Show your support down below. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, I hope that you'd hit that subscribe button so you get all my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top lists. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you want to support the channel more, we have a Patreon link, a tips link, and a super thanks button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody that supports us, and y'all take care.